Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Will you consider a national mandate that people need to wear masks?
No, I want people to have a certain freedom, and I don't believe in that.
It relies on the individual people of America doing the right thing. I'm begging you, please understand that we are not trying to take away your freedoms when we say wear a face covering.
Well, it is bizarre that we have turned mask wearing into something political. How could it be that something as basic as a public health action that we have very strong evidence can help seems to attach to people's political party?
Because we're nuts. Like I said, you could put a piece of cheese in the room, on the ground, a bunch of people stand around it. Eventually they would start arguing over the political leanings of the cheese and whether the cheese was a bleeding heart liberal or a super uber Christian conservative and battle over that. The reality is there evidence to say that masks help? Yeah, there is. Is there some evidence out there that say it's not as effective as some people say, and it may not be effective at all, especially with the masks that most people are just getting? There's that too. The reality is it's more than just a singular thing. It is. It's more than just, can it help? Look, in large situations, and I've rarely put myself in, I don't like crowds. It's never been my thing. I just don't like wait. I'm very impatient. I just want to go and I want to do something. I want to be done with it. You ever watch any of those videos on YouTube or you go and it's life hacks? Life hacks should be like, life hack 30 seconds. Just show me how to do it. I don't need 1,500 backstories. That's me. I need a life hack in 30, not 30 minutes. Look, I show up. I social distance as much as possible. It's kind of natural for me. But I do go places because I got to eat. Got things I have to do, responsibilities. I wear a mask. It's not a big deal. Not going to wear a mask in my car. Not going to wear a mask. I went out and worked out yesterday at the park. You know what I didn't do? I didn't wear a mask. Now, I have a mask that I wear for workouts, which simulates kind of higher altitude. That helps. But that has nothing to do with this. It's not stopping anything. It's not doing anything. It's a psychological thing, too. By the way, masking up, which I believe a majority of Americans have kind of been doing, we've been doing okay at that. You know, a lot of people think that we've done, like I heard Chuck Todd over the weekend. He just talks about how horrible this job is that we've done. And the reality is America's not done the worst job. We've done a job. And we've got 50 little countries. And we have the hardest of all positions in this globe to fight something like this when it comes to the politics of it all. We inherently as a nation don't trust our government. We didn't trust the people that ran the country before we became a country, hence the reason why we broke away from them. And our founding fathers put in place the Constitution, which for all intents and purposes is just a protection for the people from an overreaching government. So we inherently have a mistrust towards certain amounts of authority, and we've seen what happens when government overreaches. Wearing a mask is respectful. It's patriotic. Trump, we'll talk about that in a second. It's a lot of things. But we've turned it into politics because the virus became woke and because Trump turned it into something and the media helped him turn it into something where they could battle over something stupid, and the mask was the stupid thing they want to battle over. It's a hoax. It's not a hoax. It doesn't work. You don't need to wear it. Enough. Enough with that. We've got to stop being stupid. We do. We do. If you don't want to wear a mask and the company doesn't want to let you in their business, that's on them, right? That is. I'm not going to wear a mask when this thing's over and done with, and I don't think anybody else will. Although I wouldn't be surprised if long come really bad flu season, if you see some people that are more apt to maybe put a mask on here and there. We got to stop making everything so political, and it's hard to do because we've made everything political all the time.
Late this afternoon, the president tweeted this. We are united in our effort to defeat the invisible China virus, and many people say it is patriotic to wear a face mask when you can't socially distance. There's nobody more patriotic than me, your favorite president. President Trump wearing the mask in that picture.
Yeah. That's what he did. He wore a mask in the picture, and the battle begins. It's silly. Nothing wrong in a situation where there's a setting where you're like, hey, you know what? There's going to be a lot of people here because it's a store. They're asking me to wear a mask. It's their property. I'm going to go and do it. And guess what? When I leave and I get in my car, I'll take it off. It's nuts. It gets old fast. We need to stop this crap. We need to figure out how we go about turning the tide on this, to bring those numbers down, to take pressures off the hospital, and do all we can to keep this thing at bay until we find a good therapeutic and potentially a good vaccine. It's endemic, not an epidemic, which means, so right now we're in the middle of a pandemic, and then, what's this? And there's an epidemic, and then there's endemic means it's here. It's obviously not going anywhere. So we better learn to live with it, around it, and through it. So if masking up inside of a store can help that store stay open, think about somebody else other than yourself. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me and text the program as well. All of that going on. We need to figure out how we get ourselves and the economy rolling. The Republicans, Democrats trying to figure out a second stimulus plan. What does that look like? That's a good question. That's $600 a week. Is that going away? It's going to be tough because I think what you're going to see is the Republicans are like, look, people don't want to go back to work if they're making more money staying home. So let's just cut it and try to get people back to work. But when you can't open up businesses, it makes it tough. It's that conundrum, right? It's the catch-22. How do you earn a living if you can't go and earn a living? And it's a state-by-state thing.
Neither economics nor our nation's sanity would sustain an indefinite total lockdown until there's a vaccine.
And he's right. There's no way we can do it. Mitch McConnell right there. You could tell. Super exciting. So how do we go about doing this? That's the trillion-dollar question. We're spending money faster than we can print it. We're writing checks for our grandkids to repay. But great data yesterday. I read a great report that if this $600 goes away a week, so think about this. This $600 a week goes away. What you're going to see is a massive economic collapse unless we can restart the economy. And that's a big if. And we're talking about, think about this for a second. You're at home right now. Like, you're in Arizona. Arizona pays virtually nothing for unemployment. It's like $280 a week. So you're at home and you've got this last 3 months of total almost $900 a week. So you're making $3,600 a week. $3,600 a month. You're getting by. You're surviving. But your job, if you come back, it's going to be part-time, or it may not come back at all. The business you're in, the industry you're in, may not be open for a while. So if they cut this, the effects on the economy and the potential effects on bankruptcy and so many other things is going to be huge. But there's something to the fact that if you pay people to stay home, why would they want to go back to work? That was when they reopened, as many states did, at least attempted to. Businesses were having trouble finding people to come back to work. And part of the reason for that was, why would I want to go back to work and take a pay cut right now? Why don't we just ride this thing out for as long as we can? So I don't know what they're going to do. This is what I feel and the people I've talked to, is it's going to be another one-time payment of some sort and potentially a halving of the unemployment. So instead of $600, you may get $300 a week. Does that keep the lights on for some people? Absolutely. For other people, does it make it a struggle? It was a struggle already, and it's going to be a struggle again. If you pull the plug completely, the nightmare is going to be real. But at some point in time, you have to pull the plug. You have to rip the Band-Aid off. But is that now? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. The mask. Isn't it crazy? To mask or not to mask? That's the thing that makes me laugh. And it's funny to watch the people. It's a hoax. It's not a hoax. I think we could realize, well, it's not a hoax, right? Even your great Yahweh Trump he's tried to talk it away. He's tried to hoax it away. He's tried to say it's not real. He's tried to say it's like a cold. It's none of those things. We have the European strain. Now, it started in China, mutated in Europe. This one, not as deadly, but spreads faster. So, less lethal, easier to catch. Does the mask help 100%? No. Does it hurt? Probably not. Takes away my freedom. Really? What can't you do today that you couldn't do yesterday? I'd love to hear. Remember what I said about Costco. If they require you to wear top hat into their store, because they require you to have a membership, but they require you to wear a top hat, you can wear a top hat if you want to go in. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. My goodness, what a night's sleep. Thank you, Purple. You know what I love about Purple? People are asking me all the time, like, does it really work? Does the grids, they got the grids, 2,800 grids. Does it really keep you cool and warm? It does. It absolutely does. I used to sleep really, 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 really hot. And, you wake up and you're sweating. You're just like, oh, my goodness. Never again. Nope. I've had this for well over a month now. Not at all. They've got the temperature neutral gel. It's natural. It's amazing. You're never going to sleep too hot or too cold. Firm where you need it. Soft where you want it. The best and easiest night's sleep. And I fall asleep so fast. It fits the contour of your body and the way that you sleep. Purple is so confident. And they are confident, and they have a right to be, that you're going to love this. They're going to give you a 100-night free trial, free returns, free shipping. Now's your chance. Experience the next evolution of sleep. It's pennies a day to sleep better than you've ever slept. Go to purple.com/Benson. When you use the promo code Benson for a limited time, $150 off any Purple mattress order of $1,500 or more. That's purple.com/Benson. Promo code Benson for that $150 off. Purple.com/Benson. Terms apply. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
As long as testing can improve so that you're able to quickly identify new cases and do contact tracing and isolation and quarantine, that can be a strategy. But in places where transmission is out of control, where ICUs are full, where hospitals are full, moving to some tighter form of stay at home is going to be the way to go.
That going to happen? Probably not. Not the way that I think people think it's going to happen. I think what you're seeing across the country is, because there is community spread, and you have a lot of young people who don't care. They're out there. They're having fun. They feel invincible. That's what you do when you're young. You feel invincible. Nothing's going to hurt me. You're going to live forever. And then you find out when you get to 30, maybe that's not true. By the time you're at 40, you're like, uh-oh. But right now, that's kind of what they feel like. It's not going to hurt me. It's a bunch of baloney. And it's interesting, too, because that demographic is usually very left-leaning, that younger demographic. But they go, the way that they're attacking things is very much like what everybody thinks all of the Trump supporters are, which is they're not going to wear a mask, but for different reasons. If you wear a mask, you're not going to look good on TikTok. oh, okay. Weird. So, do I think we'll get some stay-at-home orders? I think you could see some. Again, in some places. But I do find it almost impossible if you're a politician to put the genie back in the bottle and expect that people are going to follow that. And if you're getting a majority of people to mask up and you're still telling them they have to stay at home, that's the issue that people have. If masks work, we shouldn't have to shut everything down. If they don't work, we shouldn't have to wear one. When you go, there was a poll out. Is it Worldometer? You can go there, and it's not a poll, but you can go look and see. And according to us, we're pretty much in the upper half of countries, supposedly, and it's that mask up. We're on average about 55 to 56% of us. But you go and look at some of the other countries in the world who fared better than we did, and they didn't mask up at all. Finland, Denmark, Norway. I mean, none of them masked up. And you're like, oh, I don't. But part of that's because they listen to their leaders, because they trust them. They had a better plan than most of our leaders did. And remember, our leaders have a much different situation to deal with, because when you're running a country and it's kind of the one-size-fits-all scenario, it's much different than when there's 50 little countries and they do their own thing. So, will there be some stay-at-home stuff? I think there will be in certain cities. It's a possibility. But we'll see what that looks like and what's that revolt. I've always said everybody has a breaking point. We saw that with the last stay-at-home, and where the line was. We'll find out if this new stay-at-home happens in certain states and where their line is drawn. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Opinion piece in the LA Times about naked Athena and Portland. Still out of control, Portland. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Well, I think any governor, Democrat or Republican, should be hesitant to do any of these things. I think people want a governor that is going to hesitate and double-check things before they do any of these overarching orders that no governor ever wants to do. There's a number of ways local municipalities have enforced it. One of the things that it allows our businesses, our small businesses, our retailers, our grocers to do is if somebody is trying to trespass without a mask and they ask them to leave nicely and they don't, they can call upon local law enforcement with trespassing to try to help remove them from the store so they're not threatening and endangering the employees and the other customers.
Yeah, that right there is the governor, Jared Polis from Colorado. It's stupid, by the way. Like, these people that are like, I'm going to stand up for freedom. I'm standing up for your freedom by going into Target and saying, I'm not wearing a mask. It's like, shut up. You're an idiot. You are. I asked the question, to mask or not to mask. I just threw it out there on Twitter because I figure, just ask a question and see what happens. And, man, the fighting is hilarious. A lot of people, though, say the same thing. Look, it's not that hard, and nobody likes it. Nobody's walking around going, this is awesome. I'm loving this. Except for ugly people. Ugly people are probably like, this is great. For a while, you feel like you're normal. Just for a while. Not forever, because eventually the mask will come off. Do you see Fauci's going to throw out the first ball at the Nats game? You better throw a strike, because baseball's back tomorrow. And already the trending thing is boycott baseball. because I guess at a baseball game last night, because there is a preseason mini spring training going on, and last night at the San Francisco A's game, and by the way, it looked like a regular crowd at the A's game. Somebody took a knee. I don't know who it was. A couple players. And Trump tweeted out, that's it. The minute somebody does that, game's over for me. So we're boycotting baseball. I boycott baseball because it's boring. It's nothing to do. You guys could lay down. You could do jumping jacks. You could stand pristine and salute, all of you. The game. They had a chance to do something fun with baseball, and they did none of it. None of it. I don't know what it would be, but something fun you could have done. You had the opportunity. All the other leagues trying to get themselves back. You had a great opportunity to go, okay, here's the deal. We're going to play 7 innings. We're going to have 3 baseballs at once out there. We have 2 batters. A guy at second base with a bat. Guy at home, right? And they each one of them. So if a ball gets hit to the guy at second and he has a chance to turn around and hit it out of the park, you can do it. Something more entertaining. Put a shot clock up there, maybe a basket somewhere, a goal. It'd be great. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. This is in the opinion section of the LA Times. Letters to the editor. Portland's naked Athena is the hero our wounded country needs now. So if you haven't seen this lady, she goes full Sharon Stone in the middle of the street in Portland in front of the police. Because, you know, that's all they do in Portland now. People ask you, what goes on in Portland? I say, I just think people are out there just protesting. I don't know if there's an industry. If that's an industry, then they're doing a really good job. But she's out there. She's full spread. Looks like she should be on, like that picture should be on the mud flaps somewhere of a big truck. I found it interesting that if a guy did that, right? So if a guy does that, you're totally being arrested. You may even be in a position where they're going to file charges against you for where you may have to register as a sex offender. But her, no, she's a hero. So I'm like, whatever. But last night, again, craziness and chaos, once again, in Portland.
More federal law enforcement, that I can tell you. In Portland, they've done a fantastic job. They've been there 3 days, and they really have done a fantastic job in a very short period of time. No problem. They grab them, a lot of people in jail. They're leaders. These are anarchists. These are not protesters. People say protesters. These people are anarchists. These are people that hate our country, and we're not going to let it go forward. The governor and the mayor and the senators out there, they're afraid of these people. That's the reason they don't want us to help them. They're afraid. I really believe they're actually maybe even physically afraid of these people.
I don't know if that's true, but you know what? Look, Portland, you need to do something. You do. You need to figure something out because your city is an absolute mess. We're at 54 days and counting, and it's getting worse. Well, the federal agents are there. Okay, they've been there 3 days. What about the other 50 days they weren't there? And this isn't about George Floyd anymore. This is about a bunch of spoiled kids who are out there, who don't want to grow up, who are breaking things, demanding God knows what, because every one of them, if you ask, they're going to give you a different thing that they want, and you've done nothing. You've done nothing to quell this. You had every opportunity on more than a few occasions, and we're not talking about peaceful protesters. I'm fine with that. There's a certain level, though, of protester and time period when they're out there. They switch from protester to whatever it is they are. Antifa, anarchist, you got the Communist Party out there. You've got people that just want to see stuff burn. You need to figure something out. Governor, you maybe should have thought, you know what? Maybe I need to tell my police to shut this down. Tom Wheeler, you're the mayor there. You said you are not going to allow a chop. You haven't allowed a chop. But you have allowed 54 days of people to throw a fit in your city.
A city on edge. Over the weekend, some demonstrators responding to the president's deployment of federal agents officially there to protect federal property, clashing on the streets. Video tweeted out by Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley shows a protester being detained and placed in an unmarked minivan. Customs and Border Protection officials saying its agents took the action in the video because the protester was suspected of assaults against federal agents or destruction of federal property. And that suspect was moved into a safer location for further questioning.
Yeah. Further questioning. What are they doing? I don't want federal agents out there at all. I don't. You shouldn't be out there snatching people off the street. But you've allowed this to go on too long, Portland. You've allowed chaos, craziness, petulant children to break things, to hold a certain part of the city hostage. Imagine if you lived there or had a business there. Boy, you must be stoked. Seattle's done the same thing. It is ridiculous. Other cities are allowing this to go on, and it's growing, and it's becoming an issue. And Trump, as you see, he's not playing around. He'll send them in there. But the average person in Portland, they're over this. Look, you understand, you live in a place like Portland, it's a little hippy-dippy, right? You get that? Portland used to be beautiful. It's gross. Producer Anthony, I talk about it all the time. He went up there a few years ago. He's like, it's gross. It's nasty. It really is. You've got kids running wild, just tons of homeless people, predominantly kids, drug use. I mean, say what you want. You've allowed this to happen in your city. And this is the same thing. If you don't like it, people in Portland, you vote those people out. Let Portland burn. I don't care. That's on you. Other cities, it won't happen. But if they want to blow everything up, if they want to light stuff on fire, if they want to break things, you know what? That's on them. Vote new people in that won't allow it.
I feared for my life and I ran. And they eventually caught up with me and pulled me into the van.
Pulled you into the van. Went there. They detained him. It's weird because not really any of these people are being charged with anything. I think they're taking their pictures. But I don't like the fact that the feds are there. Stay out of there. You don't need to be there. Let this be a Portland problem. And I think that's the way that people have. If I'm Trump, I let it deal with it. Hey, you know what? They want to protest. They want to blow stuff up. That's Portland. States' rights thing. Let the cities handle it. If they want to let this go. Now, if they start killing a bunch of innocent people and Portland doesn't shut it down, but if they just want to burn everything down, vote new people in. If you're unhappy with it, vote new people in. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Getting closer to a vaccine, we hope. Optimism's always there. Absolutely. But there is also that thing where you're like, what if scenario?
It's amazing the amount of resources, dollars, and effort that are going into developing a vaccine. And it gives me hope that we will get there. But there have been vaccine efforts for other viral infections that in the end haven't panned out.
Yeah, and you can look at something like HIV. For years, I mean, they believed that there was going to be a vaccine for HIV. They did. And it's not come. They're still working on it. We're 40 years into it, and they're still working on what they hope today or one day will be a vaccine. Could this, and this is the one thing I don't think anybody's brought up. They tinker with the idea, or they'll say something, but you never know. Here's my question. What if we don't get a vaccine? What if there is no vaccine to speak of? And this thing is just kind of always hanging about. What happens then? Because we can't live our lives inside forever. We're finding that out. I mean, most people, after about 45 days, were like, time's up. But that's a fair question. What do we do then? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from all of you. Valor Gold. People are a little undecided on gold. And I always tell everybody, here's the beauty of gold, right? The stock price can go to where? It can go to zero. Gold's never going to be worth nothing. It's always going to be worth something. And Valor Gold Group wants to show you how you can protect yourself and make money. That's what's great about when you understand marketplaces, how you capitalize on the volatility and what's happening in the world. Valor Gold Group has 50 years of experience in the precious metals industries. The partners have been together a long time. They understand what the industry is all about. They also have combined the old school with the new school, and they're going to show you how you can protect yourself as well as build wealth and give yourself an immediate source of money when you need it. Gold and silver qualify for your IRA. Call 800-202-6936, 800-202-6936. They're going to give you an exclusive copy of the number one way to protect your wealth with confidence. It's Valor Gold Group. I recommend them. They're good people. Speak to them, and they just got a nice handle and knowledge on what it's truly like to build wealth. And having been in the industry myself, these guys, they get it. Go to valorgoldgroup.com/Chad, VALOR, goldgroup.com/Chad, valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
All I have for you is a word. Tenet. What we don't have now is a release date for Tenet, Christopher Nolan's highly anticipated film, which was supposed to help restart the theater business with an August 12th opening. Warner Brothers has decided to move dates again after pushing the film back several times. As of now, it's unclear when Tenet will open. Studios don't want to release big-budget films in the U.S. without the two biggest markets, New York and Los Angeles, open for business. And right now, it's unclear when theaters in those cities will start showing movies.
Yeah. Don't know. Maybe September, October. If I've got a big movie and you've spent hundreds of millions of dollars, because Tenet ain't cheap. I think they spent $150 on that. Why would you release it in the unknown, even if theaters were open at this point in time, if people are still going to be wary? You can kick it back a year, 6 months. I think the Halloween series is they're pushing that back just a year, and they've been filming that, and they've got a lot of that stuff done, and they're filming the two of them together at the same time. I just don't know why you would, at this point in time, even think about releasing a movie like that. Now, if theaters are open and your budget's small, that's when you do it. Why not? You got the whole thing to The Wretched, which was a great horror movie. It came out and it was played in mostly drive-ins. It made like $2-3 million. It dominated for several weeks because there was nothing else out there. And same with a small movie starring Kevin James called Becky, which was awesome. It was like Home Alone, but rated R Home Alone. We're like, instead of doing funny things to the people that were awful, and Kevin James plays a Nazi in this, instead of doing that, you got a girl who's a little bit psychotic, well, a lot of bit psychotic, and the Nazis who come to her house because they're looking for something. And she does a Home Alone on them. It's kind of in the woods, and it's brutal. It's awesome. Didn't cost any money to make. So, of course, you'd release something like that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. So, this woman doesn't quite get what TikTok's all about. I always joke about TikTok. I said it's kitties and blank that rhymes with kitties is kind of what TikTok is all about. And this lady's mad at this woman because of her attire on said beach.
See those big little boys over there? Yeah. Those are my boys. They're staring at your ass, which is hanging out in the middle of a public place. Do you need a pair of shorts? Because I have an extra pair.
What do you mean?
I mean, get your ass covered. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't need my boys.
There is a rule that say that?
Yeah, there is. It's called nudity. You can't be nude on a beach like this. This is a public place.
All right. I'm going to ask him.
I'm going to ask somebody. Because bikinis now, they got the new like thong look. I look at it and I'm like, my boys are staring at you. Of course. Obviously, we don't have to worry about them. If people are worried, are my kids gay? You don't have to worry about that. Not that it matters anymore. I'm just saying. Your ass is out? Why? She's got a nice looking ass. Get over yourself. But it's interesting because do you want people to look at you? Is that the goal? That's also the other side of it. They're looking at you, but do you want people to look at you? Because I feel like you do and you don't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
He will heal this land. God works through each of us to fulfill that prophecy. Now, I know that many of you all are frustrated. So am I. I know that many of you do not like the mask requirement. I don't either. It is the last thing that I wanted to do. Actually, the next to last. The last thing that any of us want is to lock Texas back down again.
That's Greg Abbott, who's in a tunnel, apparently. Good for him. That's how safe he is. The mask requirement. To mask or not to mask is thy question. Just do it. But don't be stupid about it. Use common sense. It's that simple. That's it. If you're going to go into a place that is a business, grocery store, Walmart, Target, whatever it is, and you're going to be around other people, mask up. It's not that hard. If it saves one person, even if that person's you, it's a good thing, right? It's that simple. You can see what's happening. The spread is real. The spread is real. The good news is it's not as deadly. We got the European version of the Chinese virus, as Trump would call it. So we got the European version of it. What's it do? Spreads quicker. What doesn't it do? It doesn't kill like the Chinese version, if you will. So we got the European finally we got a European knockoff rather than a Chinese knockoff. It's not very nice, Chad.
We must do all that we can to prevent that. But each day, the facts get worse. In just the past month, hospitalizations increased every day and quadrupled to more than 10,000. Many regions are running out of ICU beds. Now, I know there are issues that we may differ on, but I also know there is so much that we agree on. Things like beating Joe Biden and re-electing Donald Trump.
Wear a mask. It's so funny. So it shouldn't be something we should be battling on. It should be something that, hey, we're going to wear a mask. Why is that? Because businesses are asking for it. People feel comfortable. We need people to get back out there. And there's a certain psychological thing for a lot of people out there who want to participate but are afraid to. We don't know what the person next to us. We don't know what their story is, who they have at home, what their story is themselves. So guess what? You're going into a store, you're going to be in an area where you're going to be around multiple people. It's not that hard. Nobody's stealing your freedom. Nobody's going to, the next thing you know, there are things where you look and you say, I will fight against that. If they make you wear a mask inside your home, then let's fight against that. That's stupid. Costco's asking you to wear a mask. You want to know when you fight? How about this Kentucky couple? This is when you throw a fit.
A Kentucky family says their COVID-19 quarantine feels more like a prison sentence.
You don't get an ankle monitor unless you're convicted of a crime or you're waiting trial or you're going on trial for something. We never even got any of it.
Elizabeth Lynn Scott says when she tested positive for the virus earlier this month, the Lincoln Trail District Health Department asked her to sign these documents, saying she, her husband, and her daughter would isolate at home for 14 days, updating the health department on their symptoms every day and contacting medical officials beforehand if they had to go to the hospital.
I wouldn't have signed them. Would you? No, I'm not going to sign that. That's ridiculous. That's the stuff where like, no, I'm not signing that. No way am I signing any of that. You give them to me and I'll hand them to a lawyer, then we'll come back and talk. But I'm not signing that. Period. Case closed. End of story. Now, they're a younger couple. They went because they were going to go visit, I believe, her family, included her mother and father, but also her grandmother and grandfather. They wanted to take precaution just to make sure that they didn't have it as to put anybody else in a precarious situation if they caught it.
I said, I have no problem self-quarantining. I said, but if I have to leave my house to get a necessity for an emergency, I'm going to do that without your prior consent.
Lynn Scott declined the agreement, writing in part, "It's my right and freedoms to go where I please and not have to answer to anyone for it." She said she'd do her best to stay home and avoid the elderly, but added, there is no pandemic. The health director, citing the threat of the virus, then requested a judge order the family to quarantine, informing the family they'd been ordered to wear location tracking ankle monitors, ensuring they stay home.
Now, I think she went a bit far with, like, there's no pandemic. Now, you went a little bit far on that one. Obviously, you must be worried enough that you went to get a test because you didn't want to give it to your grandma and grandpa or your mother and father. In saying that, once again, put that on my leg. I'm going to cut it off. Not done anything. I'm not broken a crime. Catching something is not a crime. This is the stuff that's the overreach. The mask, totally different. This, absolutely.
Like, we're not wearing those ankle monitors, dude. We didn't do nothing wrong.
The Hardin County Sheriff's Office confirms deputies were on hand to inform the family of the judge's order, but distanced themselves from the decision, saying in a statement, "We have no open cases, nor have we had any cases involving the enforcement of a failure to isolate for positive COVID-19 testing." The Lynn Scott family says they're now receiving messages criticizing them for not complying, but they stand by their decision.
If you're so scared, please just you stay home, because I can't put my life on pause because you're scared.
A lot of people feel that way. Mask up. If mask works, we shouldn't have to close things down. Look, some people, they have to, like, this is, people say, well, you should be able to get stuff delivered. I live in a pretty rural area. A couple weeks ago, we tried to do one of those Grubhub things. We had to cancel it after about an hour and a half, 2 hours, because they couldn't, they're like, we still haven't found a driver. I'm like, well, thank God we don't need anything. But for some people, there would be things they'd have to do. You wear a mask, you wear some gloves, you try to be as respectful as possible. It shouldn't be this hard. A couple weeks ago, I was out here in Arizona. I would say 95% of the people were masked up. 95%. Most people are respectful. This is an overreach. I'm not signing anything you give me. I haven't done anything wrong. It's crazy. We've lost the plot here. We've made everything political and lunacy. I was talking to my uncle yesterday. He's been sick for the last week and a half, but it's not COVID. And they wouldn't see him. And he goes into the doctors. Finally, they'd made an appointment. They said, yeah, we don't have, because they said, oh, unless you have COVID, we're not going to see you. And he found a doctor. It was a gastro problem. And finally, they said, well, you have to take a test. And he goes, why do I have to take a COVID test? He goes, because you could have COVID because of the symptoms. He's like, the hot poker in my stomach is a symptom? They're like, absolutely. It's a symptom. And he goes, well, the good news is you guys have cured all the diseases, right? Because there is no more diseases. Because you've cured them all. You guys have figured out how to fix death. And so finally the doctor saw him. Well, he had a tooth removed, and it was an infection from his tooth. It wasn't COVID. But that's the hysteria and the wackiness. I get it. It spreads. We've got to be smarter. We've got to treat people with more respect. And at the same time, the difference between wearing a mask and this insanity, I'd have been just like them. Like, no, I'm not signing anything. And by the way, come to my house, put that on my leg, and I'll cut it off. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'll be responsible. If I have to go get milk for the baby or something and I can't find anybody else to do it, I will do everything I can to socially distance in the best way possible. That's the lunacy. And I understand why some people are like, well, this is what happens when you mask up. No, private business can ask you to do things. If they come into your house, you have a problem there. They go into your car and they tell you you've got to wear a mask. We're going to have problems. I was out playing soccer yesterday. I didn't wear a mask. Not going to wear a mask when I'm out working out by myself. It's not going to happen. That thing, though, that's an issue I have. I think most of you out there would have an issue like that as well. Even my other show, my on-air partner, Gatos, he's he is super hypochondriac. He mask up for everything. Perel, right after you wash your hands. In fact, wash your hands after you wash your hands, after you wash your hands, kind of thing. And he's like, I wouldn't have signed that either. And I'd have cut it off as well. Yeah, because that's insane. That's the bridge too far. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Will we get a vaccine? Won't we get a vaccine? That is the interesting dilemma. Now, I've looked at both of the two vaccines that are currently like in the lead. Moderna had theirs. Theirs was only 47 or 46 people, something like that. They're moving to phase 3. Already in phase 3 is Oxford, and theirs is very interesting.
Their phase 1 data looks really good. I wouldn't say it looks distinctly better than what you see for the Moderna trial or the Pfizer trial. They all look good.
Yeah, so far they all look good. The one I like about this is the T-cell. There's a lot of people out there, look, there's 350 million people, according to data, 347 million people haven't caught this, or 346 million people. So what is it? People are exposed to it on a daily basis, especially if you're outside. At some point in time, usually just by law of averages, you're going to come into contact. What happens is your T cells build up, and that's a good thing. And it also supercharges your immunity. They're moving up even faster than Moderna, and there's a few other ones out there that are on the heels. I'm optimistic we're going to get something, but you never know. In this day and age, you never know. What would that be like if we're like, look, here's the deal. It's only 35% effective. It's better than nothing, but it's not 100%. It's not 50%. So we'll have to learn to live around it, with it, and through it. And then I bet over time, naturally, our bodies adapt. And what ends up happening? We survive. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Purple. Best mattress ever, the Grid, the Purple Grid. It's technology, baby. What's it do? It naturally adapts to your body's shape and sleep style. And it's for every body. We're all different. We all sleep different. And guess what? Purple's there to make sure you sleep the way you want to sleep. 2,800 open air channels. It's a naturally temperature neutral gel inside of this Grid. So normally I would sleep extremely hot, even when I had it cool, and I would wake up and I'd be sweaty, and I was like, oh my God. Guess what? Not anymore. Not anymore. I sleep sound. I go to sleep faster. I've never slept better in my life. You will do the same. You can count on it with Purple. Purple's so confident that every Purple mattress comes with free shipping, free returns, 100-night, risk-free trial. Put it to the test. Experience the next evolution of sleep. Go to purple.com/Benson. Use the promo code Benson. You're going to save $150 off any Purple mattress order over $1,500. That's purple.com/Benson to save that $150. Use the promo code Benson. Purple.com/Benson. Terms apply. Chad Benson Show.
No need to fear. We promise we won't give you a noogie and make you cry Russia, Russia, Russia.
Who is the fearless leader? Fui. Fui, fui, and double fui.
Boy, it's your language. This is a family show, remember?
Fui to family too.
Nostrovia. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
Yesterday, number one trending thing on the internet here in the United States or America. Got to be coronavirus, right, Chad? No. It's got to be wearing masks? No. Nicki Minaj, she's pregnant with her first child. Not even close. Pop Smoke, trending big time. Tributes pour in for the since past 21-year-old, would have been 21-year-old rapper. Second stimulus, trending. AstraZeneca stock, because they're in a partnership with Oxford and trying to get that thing out there. You know what I'm talking about? Michael Brooks, a political commentator. Very interesting guy. Wrote a couple books. Passed away suddenly yesterday at 37. Also trending. As well as Alex Trebek. Antonio Brown retired again. How do you retire when nobody wants you? Well, you got to make it official. In the NFL, you actually have to submit paperwork. So you actually have to submit paperwork to retire. I don't think he's done that, but it's very interesting. So he retired. Oh, my goodness. It's crazy. So what else we got going on? Twitter. Sexual misconduct lawsuit filed against Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Ed Henry, and a few others. I don't know how much legs it has. I do know that Ed Henry, I believe, was fired a couple weeks ago. And now they have added some more names to it, 2 women. So we'll see what, if anything, is there on top of that. Cat Stevens, his birthday today. When you start to see people trending, you think, uh-oh. But no, it's live. Natalie Portman's trending. She hasn't done anything wrong. She's not dead. But she is bringing a women's soccer team to Los Angeles. Wonder what park they're going to play in. God, Chad, you're such a Richard. Boycott Major League Baseball. This is a boycott I can get behind. You like baseball? I like baseball. I just thought the way that they handled this last several weeks, fighting over money, world's in a pandemic, people are losing their jobs, they're losing their businesses, they're broke. You had a chance to be a bridge and some comfort to give people the opportunity to take their mind off some things, and you're fighting over what to me seemed just like stupid stuff. And I get it, you got to get your money. I got no problem with that. But I thought the players did themselves a real disservice, and but Trump saw in a spring or summer training game yesterday, a player kneeling for the Giants during the national anthem and said that, essentially he's done. He won't watch a sport if somebody kneels. The game is over. So baseball back tomorrow. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
economically central states show that we are nowhere near out of the woods.
Mitch McConnell, we're not out of the woods. What will they do? They're going to battle it out over the next stimulus package. What does that look like? You're going to get that $600 of federal money that's coming weekly along with your state's unemployment, or are they going to cut that off? Does it need to be cut off? Do you do another round for a few months and say that's it? Once we do this, there is no more. This is where we can't afford to continue to do this. The virus isn't going anywhere. The way that we look, here's the one thing that we do know. We know nothing of this virus. We can look and see how certain viruses reacted in the past. We can look and see that this virus reacts in much different ways. We talk about masking up here, to mask up, to not mask up. Other countries have done much better, and they didn't mask up. And they didn't really shelter in place like we did. Some states are getting it much later, and quite frankly, it was supposed to disappear at one time, and the summer, it's going to be seasonal. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. I mean, this may work itself through this country in the coming weeks and months and then disappear. It could start all over again and see a rise in New York on the East Coast. I mean, we have no idea. What we do know, though, is people are struggling. They're scared because they're not quite sure exactly what's going on with their job, their industry. They're looking at mounting bills and trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do next. And the government's going to play a large role in that.
Neither economics nor our nation's sanity would sustain an indefinite total lockdown until there's a vaccine.
And we can't have that. I think everybody knows that. So the question is, what now? People always say, well, you're a big talker. Well, that's because that's what I do for a living. I've said what I would do. Everybody under the age of 65 who's healthy with no pre-existing conditions, you're going to mask up and we're going to, you're going to wash your hands. We're going to do the best we can to social distance. And it's time to get back to work. It's time to get back to our lives. Everybody who has pre-existing conditions will be taking care of somebody with pre-existing conditions, or the elderly and the people that will help take care of them. Guess what? You're going to be semi-lockdown for several weeks. You'll get compensated for it. We're going to take care of it. We're throwing money at stuff that we shouldn't be throwing money at. Nobody seems to have a real plan. And take away all of the private business. Cities and states across this country are going to be in for it in the coming months because the tax revenues have dried up. The tax revenues are gone. And there's going to be some hard choices, even if you decide to raise taxes in certain areas, because you're not getting that money back anytime soon. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. The Black Lives Matter movement, which is, look, is it a movement? Is it not a movement? Is it a moment? There's several, getting behind the idea of better policing. I think most people are for that. Getting the idea behind the idea of the systemic racism and how we can start to tear down a lot of what's out there. You're not going to tear everything down because human beings are biased. By the way, that's everybody, every color, every make, every model. But I think most people, minus the awful ones, absolutely get behind it. I'm behind it. Polls, well, you look out there and the support for Black Lives Matter. And part of that is because of the time. We're very much, something's happening. This is the trend. Let's get on it.
At a time when President Trump has threatened to send more federal agents into American cities to quell protests, an ABC News Washington Post poll finds that a record 69%, the most by far in 32 years of polling, say black people and other minorities are denied equal treatment in the criminal justice system. That doesn't necessarily translate into a majority on what to do about it, however, as 55% oppose reducing police budgets, for example, with 40% in favor.
Yeah, because people are looking around. I mean, the chief of police in Chicago send a letter to Trump, help us out. We've got issues here. We've got very democratic, in some cases, uber liberal cities that are allowing a lot of things to happen that shouldn't be happening. And I look at this and I say, look, I can get behind a lot of what it is the movement's about. The people who are running the movement, I'm not getting behind what they're saying and what they're advocating for. Defunding the police, that's an interesting question. I've said since day one, you say defund the police, you're losing a majority of people, even people that can look at you and say, I think we can do things better. Minnesota AG Keith Ellison is trying to shapeshift that defund word, because that's not that to me. It's never about defunding. It's about reallocating and modernizing police, not defunding. Because when I hear defunding, I hear you're taking it away, and in its place, you're not putting anything. And when people are seeing crime on the rise, or they're seeing the nonstop protest or whatever it is, people are like, well, that can't happen.
Well, I think instead of hearing defund the police, I recommend people hear refund the community. If you look at the Minneapolis Police Department, their budget is about $193 million. What's our budget for crisis response, people who are in a mental health crisis? We know that about half of the deadly force encounters in Minnesota are people who are in a mental health crisis. How much money are we putting into dual responses that might actually help that person survive?
And you know what? I am total. That right there makes absolute sense. And I'm not a big fan of Keith Ellison. That makes sense. Why? Because we're asking our police officers to do things and fix parts of society that have broken down for whatever reason. They've broken down. Mental health issues, fatherless homes. We can go on and on and on and on about the disaster. You got to be a drug counselor as well. I mean, there's so much stuff, and we're asking the police to do all of those things. He continues.
What about housing? Whether you're in L.A. or Minneapolis, you see people living in tents by the roadside. In the richest country in the history of the world, people are living in tents in America. I mean, if you refunded the community, would you need as much in the way of armed paramilitary response to the calls that people make? Do we really need an armed paramilitary response to a fake $20 bill?
No, well, that wasn't an armed military response. Those were police officers. Let's be real. We're not going to have bobbies. We're not going to have cops roaming the street with a whistle. It's just not going to happen. No, but we didn't need it for a fake $20 bill. We didn't need that. I think most police would rather focus on doing other things than a lot of this stuff that they end up having to do, which is fix problems in society that's broke, or go out and help stupid people with stupid questions, because there's a lot of that. Don't you watch all the stuff that I used to watch. Don't pretend, right, before they took off our glorious show, Live PD. There's a lot of cops who are going to places where they're trying to settle some sort of dispute that's just stupid. But we could allocate that money in a different way. We could modernize the police force. We could make it safer for them. Give the public the opportunity to feel like, yeah, we've got some stuff over here. But at the same time, you can't ask everybody to house and clothe everybody who, in many cases, as you see in places like San Francisco and Los Angeles with the homeless crisis, they don't want to follow the rules to get into those places. So what do you do then? But that defund word it's a non-starter for many people.
Some people might say, well, they should have used other language. Maybe they shouldn't call it dismantle or abolish. And I'm like, the language is designed to provoke. They are trying to provoke us into what? A new conception of how we maintain safety. Nobody calling for dismantle police is going to tell you we're not going to have domestic violence, sexual assault, fraud, robbery, gun crimes. Nobody's going to say those things are going to magically not happen anymore if you dismantle the police.
And you need to have the cops. You do. I talk to police officers almost on a daily basis. They're in here. They do 2 or 3 shows, different shows a week. So they tape them and I see the cops and they roll in, and the first responders, the fire department has a show they do as well. And I'll chat with them and they're like, look, we're all for more modernizing of the police force. We love the idea. We don't want to be everybody's babysitter, drug counselor, fixing people's crises, which is a part of the job, but that's becomes all of their job.
But what they're saying is, can we do it better in another way? And can we do it in a way that does not have the attendant human rights abuses that have been causing everything from deaths to riots to injuries to lack of trust?
Some people would like it all gone. And by the way, AOC talked about if we just took all that money and we gave it to people, that there wouldn't be problems, kind of, summarizing that. We're going to need police officers because at the end of the day, people are still going to be people, right? So unless you can change human beings, which as we've seen in the past, it doesn't happen, then you're going to need something. But how do we modernize it, make it safe for the police, at the same time, make the community feel safe and give them a better feel and an understanding? How do we do that? I think we can. Absolutely. But it's got to be done smart. And the thought process of making the police the bad guy in every situation is stupid and asinine. We have a video that's out here in Phoenix of a guy being shot on 4th of July. He's in his car. He's got a gun. They yelled for 30 seconds. Put the gun down. Put the gun down. Put the gun down. Put the gun down. He kept saying, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. Put the gun down. Put the gun down. Put the gun down. Put the gun. Then he does something. Why were they there? It was a stabbing. He was on parole. Felt like suicide by police officer. And it looked like he had maybe some other issues as well because he was wanted for a few other things. It sucks, right? I know a lot of people think that cops wake up every day and just want to go out and just blast people. That's not true. Are there a few bad people that are police officers? Yes. Are there some over time who become jaded? Absolutely. That's where training and the way that we approach policing needs to change. But it's a tough job. It is. And we expect them to be perfect 100% of the time. And everybody else is the victim. And you and I both know that's crap. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's Twitter. Tweet at us. Rough Greens. Somebody hit me up yesterday and says, your dog Doodle better be right about Rough Greens because I ordered some. I said, your dog's going to love it. My dog Doodle, so you guys hear the story, had him, we adopted him like going on 3 years, 2.5 years ago. And we thought he was a certain age. He'd been inside the little shelter for a long time and nobody seemed to want him. We're like, oh, he's cute, he's funny. And we brought him home. And after a couple months, you could tell his hips were bad. There's a reason why. He got a little nippy and bitey when you started to pet him. And you could feel the bumps. And he had fatty tumors. And we tried everything, and the doc, we'd gotten to the point where, like, you know what, we're just going to let him ride it out for a little while longer. Not too much longer, we're going to put him to sleep. Then we tried Rough Greens. Rough Greens came to us, said, try it. It's a 2-week starter pack. So you kick it off, right? It's a jump start. After about 10 days, totally different dog. 2 weeks into it, oh my God. And now here we are months into it, and he's changed. It's not dog food. You just sprinkle it on your dog's food. It's got all the vitamins, minerals, enzymes for digestive, the powerful strains of probiotics, omegas 3, 6, and 9. It's got everything that's missing in your dog's food. And I will tell you this right now. It has almost eliminated all of his hip problems, and he's a new dog. It'll do the same for yours. Try it today. 14-day jump start. It's only $14.95. Roughgreens.com/Chad. ruffgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MyDog88, or go to ruffgreens.com/Chad. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
Under new rules here, personal services like getting a haircut can be done outdoors, with the exception of things like hair coloring and getting tattoos. But stylist V. Vargas is not too happy with that in 100-degree heat in many areas of California right now.
To stand in one space for 2 hours under that heat, I don't know, doesn't seem like it would be good.
But other owners say they're thrilled to see outdoor services as a lifeline to stay open.
This is the way I look at haircuts. If you're willing to cut my hair and I'm willing to take the risk to have my hair cut by you, as a grown adult, get out of people's way. Wear a mask. If it works, shouldn't be a big deal, right? It's a haircut. Well, somebody could get it. If it works in reducing stuff, be fine to wear it. I couldn't even imagine if they said that here. Hey, guess what, guys? Here in Phoenix, you guys can get your haircuts outside. That's great in October, November, right? And through the rest of the year. Come June time, a little tough. And right now, I don't know what it's going to be today. It was beautiful yesterday. And by beautiful, I mean it was only like 105. Could you imagine 110-degree heat, standing outside, getting a haircut? Yeah, I'll pass. I'll pass. A couple people around work, they're like, I'm not going back until, I'm like, you better figure something out. Because what's going on with your hair, this is a no-go. This is bad. I say that, I'm bald. I'm going to cut my hair tonight. Again, it's got a little bit of fuzz. Time to shave it again. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. Will there be something else? Is there going to be another payment coming?
We want another round of direct payments to help American families keep driving our national comeback.
It's Mitch McConnell. I will tell you, I have a feeling it's going to be a battle over these payments because I think the Dems want another round of payments and to extend unemployment. That's $600 Fed money that people are getting a week. I think the Republicans are saying, you know what? No, we're going to give another round of payment, but doing that is not going to jumpstart us. That's the battle that's going to go on. Who knows how long that'll go? Probably forever. They just love to fight, right? We fight over everything, people, don't we? It's Tuesday. Are you sure it's Tuesday? Yeah, I don't know about that. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Will you consider a national mandate that people need to wear masks?
No, I want people to have a certain freedom, and I don't believe in that.
It relies on the individual people of America doing the right thing. I'm begging you, please understand that we are not trying to take away your freedoms when we say wear a face covering.
Well, it is bizarre that we have turned the mask wearing into something political. How could it be that something as basic as a public health action that we have very strong evidence can help seems to attach to people's political party?
Because the other side told me to do it. What? No, they did. They said, you should do this, and that takes away my freedoms. Freedoms are being taken away. It's not hard to mask up. By the way, governors, when you make it, again, you shouldn't have to. Here's the other thing. You shouldn't have to be told, hey, stop being a Richard. Stop being an a-hole. They want you to wear a mask inside the store for not just yourself, but for other people. Whether it's a placebo effect or it works, whatever it is, guess what? It's their business. Like I say, they want you to wear a top hat, you wear a top hat. If that's what you want to do to get in there. Enough with the ridiculousness. Stop it. Put it on. And, oh, by the way, health officials, masks work. You tell us all the time. I mean, I've seen several studies that say it works, it doesn't really work. We're not sold on it. We were sold on it, but we are. Whatever the reason is, then we can have somewhat normal business if people are wearing masks. We should be able to. See, it's a win for everybody until we figure out how to beat this SOB called the coronavirus. Shouldn't be that hard, but we make it political because we're idiots. We make it political because we got nothing else to do. There's really a great article today. I think it was in, was it Fast Company or Forbes, about people who are addicted to the web because they like to embarrass people and they like to be mean. They spend far more time online than like the average person on the social aspect of it. And I'm like, yeah, I could see that. Some people, they do. They get a kick out of it. They get a kick out of being mean. They get a kick out of trolling people. They get a kick out of starting fights. They get a kick out of stuff. It's sad. We joke all the time. My Uncle Paul, I love him to death. He's my best friend in the world. He's the biggest troll in the world. He's the biggest troll in the world. I can go on his Facebook page right now, and I guarantee you there's 50 trolling things that are up there. And I think half the time he does it because he knows it makes us laugh. But there's a lot of people out there they're nuts. And we've turned this mask thing into something because we first of all, it's another way to have a disdain for Trump. And the media likes that. And Trump has another way to push back on the media and the left. And this is what it is. And then at the other side of things, you have Trump being Trump.
Late this afternoon, the president tweeted this: "We are united in our effort to defeat the invisible China virus, and many people say it is patriotic to wear a face mask when you can't socially distance. There's nobody more patriotic than me, your favorite president." President Trump wearing the mask in that picture.
Yeah. Will some people do it? I don't know. But it shouldn't be that hard. We touched a bit on the couple from Kentucky who are wearing supposedly what looks to be an ankle bracelet because they tested positive, and they put an ankle bracelet on them because they wouldn't sign the stupid paperwork. That's an infringement. Wearing a mask into a donut shop is not an infringement. It's just not. So we need to stop this. We should stop fighting with one another. If you want to fight with one another, let's beat this thing first, and then you guys can have at it all day long with the Trumps and the AOCs and the lunacy of the world. Right now, let's focus on beating this thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You can text the program. Check out the YouTube as well. Tell you this right now, Portland still on fire.
More federal law enforcement, that I can tell you. In Portland, they've done a fantastic job. They've been there 3 days, and they really have done a fantastic job in a very short period of time. No problem. They grab them, a lot of people in jail. They're leaders. These are anarchists. These are not protesters. People say protesters. These people are anarchists. These are people that hate our country, and we're not going to let it go forward. The governor and the mayor and the senators out there, they're afraid of these people. That's the reason they don't want us to help them. They're afraid. I really believe they're actually maybe even physically afraid of these people.
I don't know about that. Well, it's possible, I guess, I mean, crazy stuff happens. These people, they're a little nuts. They're not out there. And look, I've said this. Protesters and rioters, anarchists, totally separate thing. I got zero problem with protesting. Zero. Even in the midst of the pandemic, I have zero problem with people going out there exercising their First Amendment right. I got no problem with that. I have a problem with looting, burning things down, but I also have a problem with the way that Trump has gone in and put federal agents in positions where they seem to be just grabbing people. And that, to me, is a bit unsettling. It should be unsettling for you.
I feared for my life, and I ran. And they eventually caught up with me and pulled me into the van.
It's one of the people that was snatched and grabbed. They've only been there about 5-6 days. Some people say they've been there for 3. I think they've been there a little bit longer than that. They're renting cars, which is just baffling. They're driving around in Dodge Caravans, snatching people off the street, taking them places. It's unsettling. And it's funny because some people think that if they tell you to wear a mask that the government's overreaching, but then at the same time having federal agents who aren't identifying themselves grab people off the street and put them in a van, they're fine with that. That's no. It's ridiculous. It is. It's ridiculous. But I blame Portland, and I blame the people that run Portland. The mayor, I blame the governor and the city council for allowing this to continue to become a nightmare, to continue to, we're at 54 days of just chaos, and that's ramping up. And you can blame the feds, because they do.
A city on edge. Over the weekend, some demonstrators responding to the president's deployment of federal agents officially there to protect federal property, clashing on the streets. Video tweeted out by Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley shows a protester being detained and placed in an unmarked minivan. Customs and Border Protection officials saying its agents took the action in the video because the protester was suspected of assaults against federal agents or destruction of federal property. And that suspect was moved into a safer location for further questioning.
And what they're saying, what we're hearing, at least, is, and everybody's got their own side to the story, is they're monitoring this. They're watching these rioters and protesters and the differences, and they're monitoring them, and the ones that overstep the line, they're picking up later on down the line. How real is that? It depends. If you're on the left, you think it's evil and bad. If you're on the right, these are insurgents and they're just trying to destroy our country. It's unsettling for me. I don't want the feds there. But at the same time, Portland, you've done this to yourself. You've allowed this to take place in your city. You've allowed this to happen because you have done what? You have placated these petulant children who are throwing a fit. This isn't about George Floyd. Remember, that's how all of this started. All of this started because of George Floyd and what took place. And it was awful and it was horrible. We've since passed that point. We have passed that point of this being about George Floyd. That's not what any of this is about. This is about running around and throwing a fit and breaking stuff up. That's what this has become. That's what this has become. It's not about George Floyd.
Most of this is not about George Floyd now. You say, like, if it was just the case that there were protests about police brutality, I would support that. If it was just protests against racism, great. But that's not what this is now. This is, this is absolutely not that. It's so distanced from that now.
It's really then becomes like anti-capitalism, anti-Western civilization.
Because you know why? They're there everywhere. Everywhere. And that's Bridget Fetzi and Andy Doyle on the Culture Wars podcast. If you've not checked it out, do it. But that is everywhere. They show up, these groups, and it doesn't matter what it is, right? Police brutality over here. We're angry at Wall Street over here. Over here, we're angry at this bank. Over here, we're angry with this company. They show up everywhere, and they overtake and they take over the conversation, and they say, we're here to fight the battle with you against whatever man they're up against. And at the end of the day, it's about them, and they're more interested in breaking stuff and causing chaos and havoc than they are about finding out any solutions. And it takes away from the message. It's not about George Floyd. Now they've got a great villain to fight even harder, which is Trump sitting in the feds. But Portland, this is on you. You have not done what you needed to do. You've not done that. Protest one thing, but before the feds got there, they were breaking stuff up. They were trying to light the federal court building on fire. They were doing a lot of different things, and you just kind of allow it to take place. Hoping what? They're going to burn out? 54 days. Doesn't seem like they're burning out. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Hello, Fresh. You get home, you work, you're doing a bunch of different things. You're saying to yourself, Self, it's got to be easier. It is. It's HelloFresh. Contacts-free, delivery straight to your door, 22 chef-curated recipes each week. You got a low-calorie. Maybe you want to do a little low-calorie. They got that. Vegetarian? They got that. Family-friendly. Something for everybody. They got that. And they got a bunch of other stuff. They got the surf and turf. They got the craft burger and taste tours, gourmet feast. You name it, they've got it. Tried the burger. It's amazing. One of the best burgers you will ever eat. Takes about 20 minutes. They give you the recipe. They give you the ingredients. You put the puzzle together and then eat. And here's the other thing. And this is so amazing. Costs less. Takes the headache away of going places, comes straight to your door, and it costs less. You'll save 40% versus shopping at your local grocery store. The other great thing is you can change your delivery days. You can add extra meals, skip a week, whatever it is. HelloFresh is here to make it flexible and fit your lifestyle. You get started today with the #1 meal kit in America. That is HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com. Use the code Benson. When you do, you're going to save $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. That is promo code Benson at HelloFresh.com for that $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. HelloFresh.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
We want another round of direct payments to help American families keep driving our national comeback.
Mitch McConnell, he's fun. You could just hear me like, oh my God, that guy's he's full of stuff that's fun and exciting. He's right, though. We need another round of some sort of payments, especially if we're going to be shutting everything down. Although I found it interesting what Peter Schiff said last week when he was on with Joe Rogan. He's an economist. He has a hedge fund, lives in Puerto Rico. He said, states are quick to shut it down because the feds bail them out. Would they have a different opinion if the feds weren't bailing them out? And they're like, you do what you need to do and the budget you have to work with. We're not gonna save your butt on this. Would they feel different? I think some states absolutely would. I'm telling you, there's going to be a reckoning, though, coming sooner than most people think. I've talked to several city and state officials here in Arizona that say, look, our budget's destroyed. Stuff, because they plan out stuff like new highways, things like that. That's been planned out for years. That's getting scrapped. We're freezing hiring. We're talking about laying off people. This is real. They're going to be short in a major way, just like everybody else is. How do you think they're going to get that money? They're printing some. They're hoping the feds are going to give them some. At the end of the day, they're going to come to you and I. That's why being responsible when it comes to your hygiene, which we shouldn't have to talk about, but apparently we do. But also, just having an understanding of, you know what? Maybe I played a little. I don't need to go to a club. I don't go to clubs. Are there people there? Yeah, I'm not going there. People always ask me, do you really feel that way? I'm like, yeah. Like, I lived 20 minutes, 15 minutes from Coachella. I went to like the first year of Coachella when it was just a small little thing. And I was in music radio as like, because you work in these stations, they get clusters, so you kind of do everything. And I went like the first year, and I'm like, it was nothing like it is now. It was like 2 stages. It was, if Coachella broke out in my front lawn, I would not go. I was like, no, I'm staying in. But Americans are looking to both the Republicans and Democrats to get something done.
We need to find the right sort of middle ground that is smart and safe, but also more sustainable.
Man, he's right. And that people are looking, and I think most people I'll forego that $1,200 check. Don't take away the $600 a week unemployment. I think the Democrats want both. I think the Republicans are willing to give on one. Who blinks first? That's a real question that's going to come up in the coming days and weeks, because this thing's running out fast. We're a few days away from this thing going away, and then you just have state unemployment. So for those of you who are getting that $600 a week Fed money on top of your unemployment, that may go. What happens then? According to a new study, it goes down the 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. They were at home. They thought they'd protect themselves. The world made memes and laughed at them. Now they're being charged with a crime. Let's laugh, not at them, but at the prosecutor. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Mark and Patricia McCloskey, who on June 5th confronted those St. Louis protesters, have now been charged with unlawful use of a weapon. The couple, both of whom are lawyers, have not been arrested, but will soon be given a notice to appear in court. St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kimberly M. Gardner wrote in part, quoting here, "Today my office filed charges against Mark and Patricia McCloskey following an incident involving peaceful, unarmed protesters on June 28th. It is illegal to wave weapons in a threatening manner at those participating in nonviolent protest."
Well, it's very interesting. The first thing I said is that we can laugh at the way they handled their weapons. This is not right. We can laugh at the way that we handled it. It was stupid. I said if there's any problem, her pointing the gun at people was an issue. They were in private property in a place they shouldn't be. This group of young kids and protesters and look, and as we all know, let's be real. I don't care who it is. I don't care what it's about. Right? Having lived in Europe, and I lived in a time in Europe when the European soccer big champion league, the British weren't allowed to play in it. The English teams weren't allowed to play. They had bans for years. Because 40,000 fans would travel to a game in Europe, but there's enough knuckleheads to do something stupid that everybody had to pay the price and get lumped into it. And I went to games, and I'll be honest, there was times, you know what? A few pops in people. People are idiots. Next thing you know, they're rioting, and they're doing stuff, and they're fighting. So while 90% of the protesters were protesting, you've got 10% of the people that show up at these things that are knuckleheads. They felt, this couple, McCloskey's, like they were in danger. They had heard some stuff. People had broken through the gate. Some people said there was no gate there. Debate that all day. But now they're being charged. By the way, Kimberly Gardner, who is she is the prosecutor. She's something else. She's uber like woke and it's so this was not a surprise. So what did the police find?
Gardner said she decided on charges after a thorough investigation by the St. Louis police. But police also reportedly found the weapons were not loaded and that Mrs. McCloskey's gun wasn't even real. An attorney for the couple said the charges are, quote, disheartening, as I unequivocally believe no crime was committed.
Yeah. Now they have the Castle doctor in there. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But they also have a Gardner who, they also have a governor who thinks, quite frankly, that this is a bunch of crap. Absolutely.
I'll do everything within the Constitution of the state of Missouri to protect law-abiding citizens. And those people are exactly that. They're law-abiding citizens, and they're being attacked, frankly, by a political process that's really unfortunate. It's a sad day for us here in Missouri. They had every right to protect their property, their home, just like any of us would. And if you had a mob coming towards us, whether they tore down a gate or not, when they come on your property, they don't have a right to do that in an aggressive manner. And people have a right to protect themselves, their families, and their property. That's the Castle Doctrine in the state of Missouri.
Yeah. So the castle doctrine is your home is your castle. You can protect it. Your being is your castle. If you're in a car and somebody attacks you inside of your car, that is your castle. You can protect it. These people had every right. They didn't shoot anybody. They didn't kill anybody. They're watching on TV. They're seeing what's happening, not just in St. Louis, but elsewhere. Governor Parson continues.
The prosecutor in St. Louis, I think it's important to realize we've had 135 homicides in St. Louis since the first of the year. Of that, she's filed 30 cases out of 135, around 20%, and says she doesn't have the time, she doesn't have the resources, and yet you go out here and charge innocent citizens, private citizens that are law-abiding citizens that haven't violated the law. You charge people like that. I mean, it just defies common sense.
Yeah, well, that's because those aren't political. This is political. By the way, Governor Parson says if they were convicted, he would pardon them immediately. Good for him. Good for him. It's ridiculous. This is Mark McCloskey talking about said incident.
What various commentators have suggested is we should have just gone inside and filmed them with our cell phones. Well, do you want to have 300 people inside your house breaking stuff, setting fires, and killing you? Or would you rather stop them when they're outside? We chose to stop them from coming in.
There you go. And he had every right to do that. Did the show of force, could it be seen as a bit much? Yes. Did it turn out to be a circus? Absolutely. Did they handle their weapon and their fake weapon in a way that really wasn't the right way to do it? Absolutely. Should she had not have pointed her gun? Understandable. Like I said, it only takes a few knuckleheads. And then people get brave and stupid. It's all it takes. Just a smidge. Just one or two. Next thing you know, something stupid happens.
We've gotten support now from the White House on down. Governor Parsons, the Senator, Eric Schmidt, our Attorney General. It seems like the only person in the United States that thinks we did something wrong is our circuit attorney. But she's the same person that let out of jail everybody that was responsible for the looting and fires and destruction following the George Floyd death in the city of St. Louis. The only people that she wants to prosecute are the people that defended themselves against it, and nobody else, to my knowledge.
Yeah. And by the way, she did do that. She let out a bunch of rioters and looters. Hey, you know what? This isn't going to end the way that she wants, and this is all political because we live in a very political world and a very political time right now. But they had every right to defend themselves. Gun wasn't even real, and it wasn't even loaded. You're still going to prosecute. Oh, my goodness. And if you can't see the politics in this, you're trying not to find the politics in this. She's interested in being a hero and being woke, Kim Gardner. She's not interested in the reality of what's happening out there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us, text the program. Air conditioners, good or bad in the world of coronavirus?
Temperatures skyrocketing, but the relief of AC suddenly a worry. This scenario in China, 9 people in the direct path of an air conditioner's blower became infected, but those out of its airstream did not.
If it's blowing the virus in a specific pattern and you're downwind of somebody indoors, then it could blow it farther than 6 feet.
Oh, it could. So air conditioning's bad, or if somebody's sick and the air is blowing and they sneeze, picks up and carries it. Well, can I say the same thing about being outdoors? Right? Because the winds could get pretty bad everywhere.
But with temperatures dangerously high and many susceptible to heat-related illness, what can you do?
If you are not at risk and if you have no great volume of contact with the outside world, there's not a lot that you really need to do. Just run the air conditioning system.
But if you must have people inside, infectious disease doctors say open doors and windows and run the fan mode for a few hours before and after visitors.
Yeah, not going to happen. It's going to be 107 here today. So, and a little muggy potentially. I'm not going to open fans doors. It's crazy. And what do they used to say? Your mom, she's always running the air conditioner when were you raised in a barn? You know what that does? You're letting out all the cold air. There's just some things that I think most people are like, well, this is a bridge too far. I can get behind you with the mask. We can do some of these things, but telling me I can't run my air conditioner is not the right thing to, or run the fan. Hey, would you like a bunch of hot air poured on you? Fantastic. You're going to love this.
Next precaution, think about your AC filter.
It's a really good idea to change that and clean it if it's cleanable, or change it and put a clean one in if it's removable.
Harriman, who's on the COVID task force for HVAC professionals, says replace your existing air conditioning filter with a compatible one that removes the most particles and the smallest particles. He recommends something called the MERV 13 standard. Advice to stay safe and stay cool.
I'll run my air. I'll take my chance. So I will calculate my risk. And this is the calculated risk. I'm going to run my air. That'll be that's one of mine. I already social distance. I have a very small group of people to hang out with. I calculate my risk accordingly. This will be that one time when maybe I'll throw a little danger in there. And some cold air. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free. Tweet at us, text the program. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on the old YouTube. Try to get stuff up there as much as possible. In between my 9 shows, I do like to work out and do some other stuff, and we're building that thing up. So check it out, Chad Benson Show TV. Car Shield, here to help you in times of stress and need. You hope you never need Car Shield, but the reality is we're trying to make our cars last longer in a world of, we're not quite sure what could happen or couldn't happen. With COVID, you want to make sure you're taken care of. That's why you get Car Shield. It will protect your car from covered repairs. $99 a month, what plans start at. You call them up. Be specific. I always tell everybody, be specific. Tell them exactly what you're looking for. Are you worried about the engine? And that's the big thing, because you don't really have any electronics. Be specific about that. Are you worried about, I don't know, maybe the electronics of your car? You're fine about your engine. Be specific about that. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rent a car for free while your car's in the shop. And the shop, of course, is the shop that you choose. They get them paid directly. And what happens? You pay a small deductible. It's so simple. Call them today, 800-CAR-6000, 800-CAR-6000. When you do that, mention code Benson. It saves you 10% right there. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
This rhetoric is unhelpful and gives the violence we have seen a pass. But President Trump will not give the violence a pass. He will restore order where the Democrat governor and the Democrat mayor are unwilling to admit that they have lost control of their city.
Kayleigh McEnany talking about Portland restoring order. I don't think the Fed should be there, and I also think she's right. Democratic governor, Democratic mayor, you guys have lost the plot, and you're allowing these petulant little children to run wild and do things in your city. And you're hoping, kind of like Trump hopes the virus goes away, you're hoping they get bored and they go away. 54 days in, much like the virus, still here.
The bottom line is that this president stands with law and order, which leads to peace, and we will not allow Portland to become the new CHOP like what we saw in Seattle.
Early on, Wheeler, the mayor of Portland, said this will not be another CHOP. And it really hasn't been. It's just becoming like a professional protest. Show up every day, protest, show up every day, do some protesting. Some people break some stuff. Then, like I said, it only takes a few knuckleheads for things to get out of control. And then once that happens, all bets are off. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Movies, you ever coming back?
All I have for you is a word.
Tenet. What we don't have now is a release date for Tenet, Christopher Nolan's highly anticipated film, which was supposed to help restart the theater business with an August 12th opening. Warner Brothers has decided to move dates again after pushing the film back several times. As of now, it's unclear when Tenet will open. Studios don't want to release big-budget films in the U.S. without the two biggest markets, New York and Los Angeles, open for business. And right now, it's unclear when theaters in those cities will start showing movies.
Yeah. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know when movies are coming back in any real way. And I know when theaters are going to feel safe. And how much longer can theaters hold on? I mean, think about that. You think AMC and depending where you are, you got AMC, you've got Regal, you've got Harkins, you've got all of these theater chains across. How long are they going to hold on? How long can they afford to hold on? And when they open, how safe do you feel going to see a movie? You're going to wear a mask. It's a tough one for me because it'd be tough. It's one of the reasons I don't feel like flying. Prices are great, but there's not a lot of places to go, but I don't see myself sitting on a plane for 3 or 4 hours flying, 5 hours. So I don't know what that looks like. And if you're a movie theater company, and if you're out there, you're looking. Last week, Apple TV, they debuted the new movie from Tom Hanks, and he was kind of upset about it because he put his heart and soul into this in a much different way from the creative side of writing and the whole 9 yards. And they released that movie on Apple TV because they realized we're not going to get this thing out at any time. Some franchises are going to roll things back, but some of the bigger ones, they're going to have to accept the fact they may have to go straight to on demand if they're going to keep the plot lines moving along, because they've already got some other movies that play along with that plot line. So you're going to have to roll some stuff out. And that's to talk about Wonder Woman and what they may do with that. So who knows, but it sucks. And I miss going to movies. I tried to see at least 3 movies a month. It was like my jam on Thursday night. I'd stay in town. I'd leave straight from work. I'd go over, I'd get my popcorn and a hot dog and a drink, and I'd sit down and I'd watch a movie. And that was my, one of my respites to get out of all this chaos. And it sucks. It sucks. And I don't see at any time in the future when movies are coming back in earnest.
In a release, Walmart announced Tuesday it's offering nearly $500 million in new special bonuses to workers who have been on the front lines of the coronavirus pandemic. The company says it has offered more than $1 billion in special bonuses this year. The big box retailer also says it will not be opening its doors on Thanksgiving Day so associates can stay at home with loved ones.
How about that? It's never enough, and I'm sure everybody out there is like, no, you need to give everything up, and everybody in the store gets to come in and take, but I like that. They'll never get the credit. It's easy to hammer them when they're bad. When they do something good, people ignore it. But that's kind of cool. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Speaking of Christmas and the holidays, for me, I like Halloween's my favorite. I'm like, I don't know what that looks like this year. With the little ones, I have no idea. In Christmas time, man, people are sweating it out. A lot of people thought third quarter would be just on fire. And so far, feels a little sketchy. It's damn coronavirus. Follow at Chad Benson Show Twitter, 323-538-2423. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTube. Go eat yourself a taco. We'll do it again tomorrow as always. Night, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.